Going everybody? So I want to do this video today. This is actually part 3, why you can't win in court. Now, from the very moment that the police get your name, you become the defendant, and they write you up and they do assumptions and presumptions. I call those lies. And they target you and turn you into the defendant. Now, they take you to jail. Automatically, if you're innocent or guilty, it doesn't matter. They're going to make you pay money, or they're going to add money to the account that they're going to eventually collect. And then they're going to get you into court and act like there's all these procedures. And there is procedures, but it's all, a dog and pony show. So as time goes by, you don't realize that your attorney really doesn't work for you. Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7, Section 4. And I've said this many times. They do not work for you. The attorneys do not work for you. They hold all sides of the contract, and they walk you through it, and they hold your hand the whole way, and they get you to say you're guilty. Now, the first thing is, when you enter that forum inside that bar, and you walk in there voluntarily, by the way, the officer, if he has his hand on you, he will take it off of you, and you will walk through voluntarily. Let me point that out. Then you're only allowed to sit at one table where the defendant's supposed to sit. Now, they'll give you a man that's dressed in a suit that appears to be helping you, but in reality, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Remember, this is why you can't win in court. Then you believe, because your whole life, you believe the attorneys are supposed to help you. That's a joke. Matter of fact, it's more than a joke. So you have to sit at this table. Now, another thing is, you can't speak. No, the attorney doesn't want to hear the story. He'll listen a little bit to satisfy your anxiety a little. He will tell you all these things you can do. The judge came to his house last night for supper. Don't worry, yada, yada, yada. He will work you into a position, and he will go along with all of their BS. Now, you're sitting there in that chair at that table inside that forum in front of that judge with that prosecutor and that attorney. They're both the same thing. The prosecutor is your attorney too, okay? He has to have your permission to be in the room. All the parties have to have permission to be in the room. By you remaining silent and you not objecting to the collection of the information, to the documents that are put in against you, and for the record that's kept, if you do not object, they're the 12 presumptions you have to object to, plus more that they don't tell you. They only tell you about those presumptions, 12 presumptions in a normal, when you do research, that's what you're going to find. There's so many more presumptions that you have to rebut. Okay, you walked into the room, nobody forced you, and on and on and on. Okay, you let them be in the room, and you have no concept or earthly idea of the scheme that's being played on you or perpetrated on you as a dead man. Yes, as a dead man. You're dead, you're not allowed to speak. Once they need a liable party, and they have switched the courtroom around, and they have initiated the trust, which has 3 parties in the trust, and they're going to do this, and they're not going to say anything. It's a silent judicial thing. As time goes on, you understand that your liar is going to act like he's manipulating your time, and it's actually coming down per his energy, and that's a lie, because they're all working together. And it's a mental thing to get in your brain, your body, and your soul that they are working for you, and they're not. They are figuring out, according to what you've said to the attorney, how to easily let you down and out of some of the charges or the accusations. And then they come with you to you at a lower deal, maybe even a different charge that you could not or did not commit, to get you to agree to take the deal. So the little known thing that you don't know is all of this is to do a dog and pony show to get you to say you're guilty. So that's the only bargaining chip you have, is holding out to not saying that you're guilty. And then if you give in and you say you're guilty, they'll come down on the time. If you request a specific deal, for example, suspended jail sentence and a small fine, then you'll plead guilty. So there's always a condition to you pleading guilty, and you'll come out of that okay, or with a lot less time if you work it correctly. Now, what's going on is, and the reason why you can't win, and this is part 3, is because they're doing an auction. Yes, the judge has a gavel, and secretly and silently in closed chambers or in their office or on the phone or however they are doing it, they are doing an auction. They're bidding on you. And they look at this as a game, and they don't really look at it as sorcery, but that's really what it is. You got to call it what it is. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, what is it? Well, they're doing this auction, and they came to a final bid at the end where you're pleading or you're bidding for your life. Okay? But you're looking at all of the things that they're not paying attention to. They're paying attention to, they get retirement money, they want this case over with, they want to get to the final judgment, they want to submit those GSA bonds that you have no clue about to pay the case. And they have to go through you, and they have to get your guilty plea, okay, in most cases. Now, the evidence that it's an auction is the prosecutor makes a deal, your lawyer makes a deal, you come back and make a deal, or you tell the conditions why you shouldn't plead guilty or you should get less time. So it's an auction back and forth type thing. Now, you can't speak and your attorney has to speak, and that's another clue that you're dead. You're dead on paper. Your all capital name on your license, and they go check to see if you have a license or an ID and you're a U.S. citizen. They absolutely have power and control and jurisdiction over you because you volunteered to be a U.S. corporate person or a citizen. You are under their control and under their magic, and they have you mentally. They have you because you don't understand any of this. Now, one of the important issues is you have 2 attorneys to make this look good. You have the prosecutor, believe it or not, he's your attorney. Your attorney is your attorney, but they both work for the court, and they play a game that they work for you, or they're out to settle the matter, and they'll try to help you with lower time and so on. And closer it gets to the end, the more lenient they want to be because you have to volunteer. Okay? So in order to volunteer, you have to come alive. No joke. When you stand up and they're allowing you to speak, they have brought you alive, and they have made you the intended target, and they have made you liable as you stand up and you go to the podium, okay, and they say, what do you have to say? That's a very critical moment, but no one says that I'm innocent, I didn't do it, it was Billy Bob, I did not do this, I will not accept the punishment, the crime, the fine, the community service, the prison time. No one ever does that. By that time, they have you mentally defeated, and you just say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did it. Even if you maybe are 10% guilty. Okay, how's that possible that you're 10% guilty? Okay, let's say you have a firearm. you're at the firing range and someone grabs your gun and you grab the gun and you both go up and you both shoot somebody and you kill a person. Are you guilty or is the other person guilty? Well, in that type of situation, you would be not guilty. But because someone else tried to get the gun from you. So see, they could turn you into a guilty person if they want to. And you could say anything you want to say. You could pay the $100,000 to the attorney and all that, and they're not going to want to listen to your story. In some cases, they could do that. Okay? Let's say nobody's seen it happen, and you possess the gun, and this guy did that. I mean, there's many circumstances. But I hope you get my point. So as you're standing up there, they have beat you up mentally, physically, spiritually, and you have went through those 5 phases of denial. You have been beat mentally, so you most likely can't win. But let's say you get to that point and you know to say, I'm not guilty. I've thought about this over and over and over. I can't accept no punishment. I can't accept that I'm guilty. I'm not guilty. And that's just all there is to it. It's very hard for them to move forward. And let me point out, the judge hasn't said the sentence and hit the gavel and ended the auction yet. I know this sounds hokey, but it's true. You think about this. Then the final thing is when the judge says, will the defendant please rise? Doesn't the prosecutor, the judge, and you stand up? Look at this in society. Look to see what I'm saying. Just don't take my word for it. This is just some information that I want to portray to the public for them to maybe wake up. Okay, this is a bump your head moment, and realize that you can't win in court unless you understand these things and you know how to combat these things ahead of time, and you don't take this very personal. You understand there's a process that they walk everyone through, and it's an auction. And when he puts that gavel down, it's over with. Now, if you speak up and you say, I'm not guilty, I'm not accepting this, and I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that, and the judge goes, boom, again, well, then he did an illegal auction and you'll win on appeal. So I hope you love the things that I'm trying to portray to you, and that this causes you comfort sometime in your life, or a friend and relative or associate that you help in the future. We'll talk to you soon. Please give me a thumbs up.